think the world needs this.
Shout out to Twitter Spaces for giving us the platform to actually bring us together.
This is the beauty of having different voices in the room.
It's here. It's time.
Look at me when I say this.
9 p.m. Eastern. Jody will probably roll up at like 9:05.
Blame Jody.
What is going on? Welcome to the Sports Tea Podcast. This is episode 9. We are grooving and moving and shaking. I love it. I'm here for it. I've got Jody, I've got E, and we have a special guest tonight. So, in case you didn't know, we're a little bit kind of a big deal around here. I don't like to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm just saying. No, we have a special guest tonight. This is Atlanta Vibes head coach Todd Dagenais with us. Thank you so much, Coach, for coming to hang out with us, and welcome to the chaos.
Thank you, ladies. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and the energy is already infectious, so I can't wait for our time together.
We try. We are not responsible for, what is said on here. I will just say that we regularly text each other. So this is basically like, just like our group chat. So I'm just, hey, just wanted to give you the heads up. All right. So for those of you who are watching, this is the rundown for tonight. Of course, we're going to do what's the tea, hot tea or not tea. We're also going to do some other special segments, but we're going to actually start with a very, very special segment called Tea with Todd, because, hey, we like a little alliteration there. So this is for Coach Todd to kind of tell us, like, who are you? How did you get here? And what do you do?
Well, I am the inaugural head coach of the Atlanta Vibe women's professional volleyball team. That's about to start in January. We'll be playing up in Gwinnett at the Gas South Arena. And it's the first time in over 2 decades women's professional volleyball is tried to take off. And this is a great model. And we feel like it's got a great chance of going and bringing Olympic caliber, high quality athletics volleyball right here to Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So how did you get to Atlanta Vibe? Gwinnett County. Let's see, already starting. We've only been on like 3 minutes, and here we go. How did you get to the Atlanta Vibe? Like, how did that relationship form?
It was really, like a lot of jobs, sometimes they just pop up and present themselves. And that's really what this was. Colleen Craig, who is the owner of the franchise, had contacted me in the spring. And I was working at UCF. I'd been the head coach there for 15 years. But having been with the national team, getting a chance to go to the Olympics in 2004, there's really a special place in my heart for the professional game, especially the international game at that level. And I think something happens, after you've been in a job for a while, you need a new challenge. You need something a little bit different. And this really was a sweet spot for me, being able to coach internationally, professionally, but in a league in the United States. And, we'll get more into that, but that's what I'm most excited about, is that there's a league for women's volleyball in the United States. Our college graduates, our professional players do not have to go overseas to play anymore.
That's awesome.
I like that. That is. Shout out to me, because I'm an ex-blocker. So, yeah, I can't do it anymore now. But, yes.
Those knees definitely won't allow you to do all of that anymore.
No.
I'm really excited for this next level of women's professional volleyball, especially because they just announced recently that they're going to put a team in Kansas City. That's where I'm from. So It's supposed to be coming there, I believe, in 2025. So that's super exciting. I was telling Meg, I was like, okay, like, this is where I plan on getting into once I get back to Kansas City. So and I think, me and Meg are both just super passionate. All three of us really are super passionate about women's professional sports too. So I cannot wait for this team to come to Kansas City and just to see what's next. So,
yeah. And I think what you're talking about there, that's really what makes this special, is that women's sports, we're at a better time now than we've ever been in history. If you look at the ratings, not just the volleyball is blowing the ratings and the viewership and the attendance out of the water, but for all the sports, you look at the W, you look at softball. Women's softball is one of my favorite sports just to watch.
Yeah.
You look at soccer, softball, basketball. I mean, really, we are in a women's athletics heyday right now. And we get a chance to ride that wave and, bring a new professional sport to Atlanta.
Yes, need to put Atlanta back on the map as a sports city. We're still waiting. We got a mini hockey team, but we're still waiting on that hockey team to possibly come back. But we'll see. We'll see.
Whoa, mini hockey team. Whoa, the Gladiators are serious, okay?
Look, the Gladiators can be serious, okay? But we all know Atlanta with the Thrashers, but it's okay. We're gonna get back there. So
if you haven't picked up by now, E is definitely like Atlanta to the core. Like you
love it.
All teams, Atlanta, Georgia. Like if there's a team, she's got it.
Well, I think I gotta have E sitting on the bench next to me. Yeah. Kind of hyping up the crowd, and just don't call any timeouts or substitutions. Don't get me in trouble.
No, no. Leave that to you. That's your job. But I will be like, in practice or something. I'm helping them with their surge. Yeah, we got that. But no, I literally being in Gwinnett County, I miss playing volleyball, to be honest with you, and just to know that y'all are close. I will definitely be checking you guys out because that was like the first sport that I ever played besides like me running track and trying softball. The ball hit me in my hand and I told my daddy no, and then basketball was just too awesome for me. But I fell in love with volleyball.
Basketball was too violent, but volleyball wasn't?
No, look, and I played softball, so there's that. I played safe sport.
Yeah, the ball hits you, it's okay. Get up, try again. You know what I mean? They pulling, yanking, scratching. I can't get with that. I was a true volleyball girl. That was my thing.
I mean, if we're saying sports, I played lacrosse. We'll just throw that all in there. Like we'll just throw all the sports we played in there. Now my knees will not allow me to do that anymore. But
y'all lacrosse players, y'all were a little bit violent too, because when y'all were running with them, y'all were like, move away.
Listen. True story. My very first game ever was in like 33, 34 degree weather. And I took a charge to the chest, completely knocked the wind out of me because it was cold. And this girl was easily like 6 inches on me. So her whole body went to the middle of my chest. And at that moment, I was like, I'm not built for this.
I think lacrosse is a legal license to hit people with a high stick. You don't get that in hockey.
You go. Exactly.
That's a penalty. Lacrosse, you get to do it as long as the ref doesn't see it.
I mean, that's basically what it is. You can throw your body into people. You can shove them. You can push them. Like, yeah, I went home with a couple of bruises here or there from lacrosse balls hitting me. So, hey, it is what it is. So, all right. So tell me about this. So tell me what's going on with the team right now. I know that you guys are getting settled. I know that you are, continuing to kind of mold this team, but where are you now and what's going on, I guess, coming up soon?
So what we're doing right now is the team flew in last night to today. So we had our first series of meetings and introductions and just had our chance to get together, have dinner, kind of establish some ground pillars of who we are and what we want to be, not only as a professional team, but how we want to be for the community, how we want to represent Atlanta and how we want to represent Gwinnett and the whole area. And we have so many amazing women who are going to be great role models in this area. We're going to have them engaged out and about. If you have a child, you look at this team and you're going to say, wow, I want to be just like them, not just as an athlete, but as a human being. So we're going to do a lot of activation in the community between now and the time that we start in January. Obviously, we'll start just doing some minor practice tomorrow, more walkthroughs, and kind of just get some things, the base set up that we'll build on once we get to January and we start real practice. So we've got 5 days right now where we're doing some community outreach, some interaction stuff, and then just introducing the team to each other and start putting together the beginning pillars of something that's going to be really special.
Yeah. When does the season start?
So our first match is going to be on January 24th. We'll be on the road at Omaha. Then on the 26th, we'll be on the road at Orlando. But we actually start training either the 2nd or the 3rd of January. We're just trying to figure that out with the holiday right now. So it's right around the corner. We're not that far away.
And how many actual teams are there right now? Sorry, Meg, I'm probably taking that.
So there's 7 right now. You have San Diego, Las Vegas. You have Omaha, Grand Rapids, Columbus, Atlanta, and Orlando. So those are the inaugural 7. Dallas was going to come in this year, but they just couldn't get everything together in the right amount of time. So Dallas comes next year. Indianapolis, Kansas City. It's going to grow. And I would say we'll probably be at 12 in the second season, and who knows what after that, because there's a lot of cities that like this model, and they especially like it with it being a female sport. And so you could see a league that gets up to 24, including teams in Canada, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. You're going to see this maybe go continental here in the next 5 years.
Oh, I can definitely see
that.
that.
I love watching the volleyball segment during the Olympics. Like, I have my Olympic games that I watch all the time, and the beach volleyball and regular volleyball, like, literally, I love it. Shout out to the girls in Puerto Rico, though, because for whatever reason, I don't know where they get their women from, but good guy.
I'll say this. I actually attended the announcement for the Atlanta Vibe. I think that was back in like August, and it was during a much larger tournament, and it was beach volleyball. And it's not every day that you get out of your car and you casually see Olympians, strolling past you into this event. But in my mind, I was like, wait a minute, like, what? I know these folks. Because, admittedly, my volleyball knowledge is like this big compared to like, football knowledge or basketball knowledge. But I knew way more than I thought I did. And, I'm going into the event, and I'm like, that's Phil Dahlhauser. Like, what? Like, this is an Olympian, and he's as casual as it is. Dude's in like a shirt, he's in shorts, he's chilling, like he's not worried about me at all. Meanwhile, inside I'm like, yo.
That's what I love about that's what I love about volleyball. It's the athletes are so accessible. There's not a spoiled entitlement nature to a lot of volleyball players, and so not only with our team, but you look at the AVP, you look at the professionals. I mean, they'll hang out with you for dinner. They're just any other kind of person because they just never got sucked into the I'm an entitled professional athlete thing. Yeah. So it's a very common sport, very social. People get to know each other. It's a very tight community.
I love it. I can't wait to see this community. I'm just going to put a little nugget. Make sure you stop by Grayson High School, go talk to their volleyball girls. My son goes to the school, but I'm just shouting out Grayson since I'm putting money into them. So just make sure you stop by Grayson High School. They're in the football playoffs right now. So
just shame, E. Just no shame whatsoever.
Go Grayson Rams, okay?
Oh my Lord. All right. So on that note, we're going to transition into what's the tea. This is hot tea or not tea. So this is actually one of our favorite segments that we like to do. It is the top NFL news and what everyone is talking about. So since Jody decided to throw us to the wolves tonight, I guess I will facilitate and we'll talk about these questions. So the first topic that we have is obviously the biggest news of the day. Deshaun Watson is out for the season. The biggest thing that we found out is that he actually had 2 injuries going on, an ankle injury and as well as a shoulder injury that needs surgery, and he's out for the season. So one of the first questions we started to ask ourselves, and especially in our group chat, was this contract a bad signing? And Coach Todd, I'm going to give that question to you. What do you think? Hot tea or not tea?
I'm going to say not tea. That's a pretty talented guy right there. And he's somebody that can take a franchise like his franchise and be able to take them and get them to the next step. They have the ability to be a consistent playoff contender. Seems like they always, every year, they just fall short or something happens. I mean, it's the Browns. That's what happens, right? But I think Deshaun is such a tremendous leader and an athlete that he had the chance to do for his franchise what Burrow did for Cincinnati. And so I think that's going to be it's a bummer for him. It's certainly a bummer for fans and the franchise.
Yeah. Jody, what do you think? Hot tea or not tea?
No, here she goes. I'm already, Coach, just be prepared because she's about to hit us with some Kansas City facts, and then she's going to hit us with.
No, I'm not. So
let's see.
When you go back, this is technically season 2 for Deshaun. He's only played, I believe, 12 games.
12 games.
In 2 years, right?
Yep.
And when the Browns went to get him, it felt like a panic move, right? Like,
Yep.
It felt desperate. I know that he was also talking to the Falcons. He was talking to the Texans, and there were other teams that he was talking to. And then the Browns came in like they wanted to save him and threw him this ridiculous contract, right? I just kind of want to go through cap hit for you guys.
How did I know you were going to have the cap numbers per year?
I did not tell you she was going to do it.
I just knew. I was like, wait, she's about to pull out something. I just know.
The cap for Deshaun Watson this year is $19 million. For next year, it's $63 million. For the year after that, it's $63 million. If they did a dead cap and decided to just cut him this year, since he's only played 12 games, it would hit $220 million is what that cap hit would be if they decided to cut ties with Deshaun. So I think and kind of being on social media today while I was getting my life in order, I was just listening to Browns fans and NFL fans and just all kind of different things. I just wanted to take it all in. And, a lot of people were talking about how great of a player Deshaun Watson was, but they were talking about how great of a player he was when he was with the Texans. They had nothing to say about when he was with the Browns. And so where I know that Deshaun Watson can be this great player, we haven't seen it yet with the Browns. And I guess the question now is he injury prone? Is he injury prone? He's playing.
But if somebody picks me up and throws me down on the ground, am I injury prone because I get hurt? I mean, the guy is in a car accident every 6 plays. I don't know that he's injury prone.
NFL are in a car accident every 6 plays, right?
No, but I can see his point though. I literally can see where he's coming from, because at the end of the day, we got to realize they did lose. My dude, my Georgia boy, they did lose Nick Chubb for the season. That is an important piece because Chubb is a tough person, but that can take off some of the pressure on the quarterback. So not having that explosive player and that dynamic player does hurt you. But again, 12 games, we already know because of the suspension. But then 2, it took him a minute to really get back. So for me, with this is more so, in a sense, hot tea for me, because now, like you said, with the cap numbers, cap hit, and everything, if DTR comes out here and shows out, I'm just saying.
They're not confident in him either.
No, the Browns never had a quarterback, so I don't think they're comfortable anyway with any quarterback.
No, Bernie Kosar would disagree.
I mean, I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to say this is very hot tea for the simple fact that, people forget the Browns basically hit Deshaun Watson with a "Hey, big head" text in the middle of the night. It was like, okay, what do you want? We will give it to you. And not only did they give him a contract, $230 million guaranteed. So if he never played a down of football for them, you have given this man a contract that nobody else in the NFL has not only 1 done, but 2 wants to touch. As you saw with all the other quarterback contracts that happened this offseason, Lamar Jackson with Justin Herbert, no one was giving that kind of guaranteed money because they were like, okay, well, if something, God forbid something happens, we want to have something that's still friendly to the team. We still want to play we're going to pay our player, but still friendly to the team. The problem with this Deshaun Watson contract is it feels so gross from a financial standpoint, because let's say that, someone actually tweeted at me today and they were like, well, it's worth it if you get 1 Super Bowl out of him. For $230 million, I better have at least 3 Super Bowls out of you, at the minimum. I'm sorry. One is not
that's the
even
market.
enough.
That's where we are right now. How many elite quarterbacks are there? 4, 5?
I mean,
then you go down after that. How many mediocre quarterbacks are there that are getting paid a bag to play football?
He's talking about you.
Then you go after that. Who's left? I mean, really, who's left? There's people quarterbacking teams right now. I don't even know who they are or where they came from. So did they panic? Absolutely, they panicked, but they didn't have a choice. There were no options on the table.
I mean, I just don't know. You said what?
Or you just wait another year for the draft. They're in cap hell now for the next 5 years.
I mean, they are literally in cap hell. They are in cap hell. It is bad from that standpoint, because I think here's the other thing.
It's so the thing is, it's so backloaded heavy that's the issue. It's like
that's where I'm getting at. Is like the 230 mil is like, okay, cool, like that's a lot of money. But the way they load it, it's so backloaded that it literally handcuffs them. They couldn't do it
the front loaded way due to the fact that they didn't have the money to do it. That's why they backloaded it. But the problem is when you have situations like this where you got your quarterback in this big of a deal with this much money on the table, then that's where the question comes in. Like, what is going to be his outlook going into next season? Are there going to be that same playoff contender? You get Chubb back, and what is that team going to look like? But
you went and got Kareem Hunt back, and he came back like he never left. They shouldn't have got rid of
him in the first place.
It's also strange because right now, so they traded away Josh Dobbs, right? So you traded away Josh Dobbs, who probably could have won you several games, as you see Josh Dobbs tearing it up in Minnesota right now.
Yes, he did.
You were relegated to DTR, which I have no issues against DTR, and PJ Walker. Like, that is what is left of on your roster for guys. So if you want anybody else, it's going to look really awkward because what money are you going to pay them? Like, if you were to call, I don't know, Nick Foles and say, hey man, you want to come play? If you were to grab Matt Ryan out of the broadcasting booth and say, hey, my guy, like, do you want to play? He's not coming because, one, he's probably making more money than, in the broadcasting booth than he would be playing for you, and he could protect his body. But I digress. Like, the Browns, listen, let me say this. Browns fans have been in hell for a while, and they deserve good things in terms of like, hey, they deserve to see their team be successful. But this has felt grimy since they threw that contract at him. And when I first saw it, I was like, is no one thinking about this? Because, like, I get it. Like, all the talent in the world, he tore it up when he was in Houston. Like, take the off the field stuff aside. Like just put that here for a second.
Yeah.
The talent alone was enough for them to be like, oh, hey, we could have this conversation.
Yeah.
But nobody in the room was like, excuse me, this is not great from a financial standpoint. And somebody else in the room was like, well, actually, it's worth the risk. And
they were like, okay. Mind you, it was at midnight, so I'm sure there were lots of drinks flowing. There were all kind of things happening in that board.
Hold on. Let me bring it back. No, it wasn't here go to the issue. Pen and paper, Falcon jersey with his number in the back. He was already finna sign the contract. They had to do something to outbid Atlanta. Because remember, we didn't call him. He called us.
Yes.
Well, and like I said, there's only so many elite quarterbacks. You trade away Dobbs. Who knew? They thought they were going to be set in that position. Like we said, there's not that many. And so you've got one of the upper end serviceable quarterbacks, I think. But, I mean, you look back, it's not that long ago. Well, it's kind of long ago, but the Falcons traded away some guy named, Brett Favre. And, he went off. Do you think the Falcons would have appreciated having Brett Favre for a career after that?
He just got here, and I feel the shots coming from my
on the top rope.
Like, he came from the top rope. Like, we as Falcon fans, we talk about that. We really do. We talk about that. We kind of look at it from both angles when it comes down to it. But yeah, we would have preferred to have the Brett Favre on the team. But,
Right.
but hey, the Falcons are going to Falcons.
And then the Jets and you trade for Rodgers. What'd you get on that deal?
Yeah.
They're saying Rodgers might actually come back this year. I think that's crazy to think that he could come back and actually play this year.
He thinks he's coming back in December. We'll see.
It's Aaron Rodgers.
I like the way Jody has put that. He thinks he's coming back.
But it's 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers or 40 whatever. No. It's not 27-year-old Aaron
not
Rodgers.
happening. I love it. I love the courageousness. It's not.
All right, so let's keep on with the quarterback talk. So obviously we wanted to talk about Josh Dobbs. He is probably one of the hottest stories in the NFL right now. Actually, I blame E for this question, but she says, is Kirk Cousins out and Josh Dobbs in? E, what's going on with this question? I need to know.
Because one, Kirk Chains is hurt, but he's on his last year. And there was already rumors in the offseason that the Vikings may not bring him back. Then you get a Josh Dobbs in here who has done marvelous with the quarterback play. And literally, I'm just going to give
no Jettas.
And no Jettas, with no Jettas. And then too, you gotta realize he took a bad Cardinals team, and I hate to say this because they just beat us, but he took a bad Cardinals team that was legitimately slated to be the worst team in the NFL, and they beat the Cowboys. Legitimately beat the Cowboys with a lackluster roster. So that's the Vikings are really kind of churning right now. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it may not be sizzling hot to where you got to let it cool, but you can sip this tea just a little bit because you're going to really be paying attention to the offseason. Kirk tore his Achilles. That's a long time healing. If Josh Dobbs finishes the season and takes this team to the playoffs,
Not according to Aaron Rodgers.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is on something else. Kirk changed.
At this time, Aaron went in some tent somewhere and had an outer body experience, and said he's going to come back from Achilles tear in 3 months. I tell you what, this is hot tea because I think you're right. And as a Michigan State fan, it bothers me because Cousins is on his last legs. He's had a journeyman NFL career, which, everybody would take that if they could. But it's time for new blood up there in Minnesota, and I think they found it. And last year it was, we're talking about Purdy out at San Francisco, and now you got a brand new, just amazing story this year, and that's why you love football.
Absolutely. I think it's hot tea too. The Vikings are this close to being very good. Yeah. They have so many weapons on that. Now, if they can get the O-line together, that's another conversation. But they have so many weapons on this team that can really – they can be that high-powered scoring offense with the right quarterback. They're so close. Like, draft day, we were having a conversation about how them having Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson is a cheat code. Like, that's not fair to the NFL. It's just Kirk Cousins. If you have that quarterback that can come in there, that can be very consistent, that can throw the ball on target, get him to his receivers, that team, and honestly, if you look at their schedule for the rest of the year, it's kind of light. So they can make it to the playoffs. They can make it to the playoffs. So you know how the NFC is. So, I think it's very hot tea. I love what's happening for Josh Dobbs. That whole entire organization is just hot, and they are rolling right now. The feelings are high. Even Justin Jefferson tweeted out, like, I cannot wait to get back with this team. So, that shuts down all the rumors of him wanting to be traded or anything like that. So, I'm excited to see next for them. I am very glad that when the Chiefs played them, it was when Kirk Cousins was out there and not Josh Dobbs, just saying. So, yeah.
I'm going to say this is actually not tea because I worry about so Josh Dobbs is playing well. Let me say that. But I don't know if I see starting quarterback out of Josh Dobbs. It's not that he's horrible or things like that, but I'm not quite sure. Like, he's definitely serviceable to step in when a couple of games, but I would need to see more of a resume before I'm like, okay, yeah, that is our starting quarterback.
He hasn't played enough games. What is it that you don't see? What is it that you don't see?
The difference between him and Brock Purdy.
I was going to ask that too.
I didn't see anything in Brock Purdy. That's just me.
Hold on here. Dobbs than I did in Brock Purdy.
Hold on here.
Meg in the corner. We can put Meg in the corner.
Hold on. I wasn't 100% sold on Brock Purdy either because that roster.
Or Geno Smith.
Geno, I wasn't sold on Geno either. You guys know that. I had a whole conversation about Geno. But so my thing is, I need to see a bigger body of work before I'm like, yes, like this is a starting quarterback. Here's the other thing. To E's point, there were rumblings, I don't know, end of last year and even maybe the year before about whether or not Kirk was going to be the guy, whether or not they would actually draft someone this past draft. So there was a little bit of a shock that the Vikings didn't draft a quarterback. Because I remember on draft day, they're like, oh, look out for the Vikings as a sleeper team to potentially go and grab up one of these quarterbacks. They didn't. But you have quite a few options here in this draft coming up for people,
Correct.
Jaden Daniels, you've got, Michael Penix, you've got Bo Nix. Like there's a lot, Caleb Williams, Drake May, like there's a lot of quarterbacks here that are going to be in that front half. The Vikings could potentially, get a quarterback if they wanted to. That's the only reason I'm saying it's not T for now. I need to see a bigger breadth of work, but let me say this. If Josh Dobbs balls out the rest of the year, and you believe hey, we can roll with this dude, please, by all means do. I think he's a phenomenal human being. He's got a heart on him. He's really, honestly, he's hilarious. If you don't follow him on social media, he's hilarious. But fans really have already flocked to him and appreciated him. So I think that's a good thing for him. I think for the Vikings, they have to figure out whether or not they believe that Kirk Cousins can take them to that promised land, right? The Vikings, they've got a good team on them, right? That there's no issue there, but they've fallen short in those bigger moments. So now the question really begins, do you think Kirk Cousins can get you a Super Bowl? And if that answer is no, or you're wavering on that, then that's maybe time for you to start looking at other options. So I'll leave it at that.
I think you look at Cousins, you hope he gets back and he's healthy so you can trade him and get some value out of him, and just hope that Dobbs is your quarterback of the future.
I 100% agree. And there are some teams right now that could take Kirk Cousins. There are there are teams out there right now that would be way better off.
Shout out to the New York Giants. I'm gonna shout out to them, but we're gonna digress.
Jets.
Literally, there's so many teams. Hey, Falcons, respectfully. There's so many teams.
She said respectfully.
No.
All right. Before Jody stirs the pot enough, let's go to this last topic for hot tea or not tea. So Ken Dorsey is out as offensive coordinator for the Bills. So this is a really good question, which actually I'm going to throw it to Jody first because she's always the loudest about the Bills on this podcast. Was it Ken Dorsey, or is it Josh Allen, or is it something more? Hot tea, not tea for you.
This is very hot tea. Hi, Todd. I know you're new here. So I have been against Josh Allen since all of last year. So last year, this year, all of the years. Never been a Josh Allen fan. Not a great quarterback to me. He's not a great quarterback to me. It's really unfortunate. And before I even say my take, I just want to say what I've been seeing all over from social media. So you got people like Marcus Spears, Ryan Clark, all of these people calling out the Bills organization saying y'all fired the wrong person. For you to think that this comes down to coaching and not your quarterback, y'all are truly missing what is happening. And I think that's very, very true and very clear. Josh Allen is, yes, he is a system quarterback, but he's known for only playing hero ball. He doesn't know how to play any other type of ball. He doesn't understand how to go for a check down. He doesn't trust his running back. His O-line is better than a lot of other teams' O-line. So, there's a lot of opportunity in the Bills organization. It's not going to change. The communication is bad. They don't get along. Stephon Diggs doesn't want to be there. His brother's trying to get him out of there. There's so much chaos going on in that organization right now. I've made it a goal this week to listen to as many post and pregame conferences as I can for Josh Allen, because I wanted to hear his leadership style. Not only does he not take accountability for the things that are happening with his team, you don't hear him talking about how he's going to be better and he's going to make these changes and this is what he wants to do and how he's going to work with the team and blah, blah, blah. So not only is he not a great quarterback, he's also a terrible leader. So I don't think anything is going to change in this organization. I think they're not going to make the playoffs. That's another one of my hot takes. That's how I feel about the Buffalo Bills right now.
Well, I'll tell you, as a coach, and been coaching for 30 years, sometimes you can pin something directly on a coach and say it's the way, it's the culture, it's the chemistry, it's how you put things together. I'm not sure that this is the case. I think there's so many other rotten apples on the tree that you just can't pin it on one person. And I can't say I disagree with you about Josh Allen. where's the champion? Where's the warrior? Where's the platoon leader? Well, you got to have something like that. And that position, you have to have a leader. And it's sorely lacking. And also, I think not everybody understands when they're looking at an organization, what else is going on around. There's just so many things that happen behind the scenes. So you never really know how bad it is behind the organization. You just look at what you see on TV and you make a snap decision. So I don't know about that one.
Eve, what do you think?
I like I told told my guys, I wonder if Deuce is still in here, but like I've been telling Deuce, DT, C. Henry, when we were even talking about the top teams in the AFC, I was like, I don't care if the Bills drop 50 on the Dolphins or whatever, but you go in and you have embarrassing losses right after that.
Haven't beat
exactly. And then, when you're looking at it, the inconsistency, you're supposed to be the top quarterback. A lot of people have Josh Allen in their top 5, to be honest with you. Some people don't, but some people have him in the top 5 as one of the top. But at the end of the day, I'm not seeing that consistency. I really think Josh Allen has lost the locker room. When you have your top number 1 target is basically looking at you and saying, either you're going to give me the ball or I'm out. Give me the ball, make things happen. And you have that. It's just, again, he's leading the league in interceptions again. He's not clutch when he needs to be clutch. I feel like, and I hate this, and I hate the way this happens, is when you have the owner stepping in and they want to protect their investment, which is the quarterback. They're going to find ways to throw other people underneath the bus. And I think that's what they did with the OC, and they blame the OC for that when that's not his fault. Because I didn't see nothing bad with Dorsey's offense. I think the offense is a pretty good offense.
They actually have play calling too. I agree.
Yeah, so I didn't see anything wrong with it.
I do think they should run the ball more. Yeah, but other than that, I think they usually have pretty good play call.
Yeah, the win, the drop the 50, you don't have a bad play calling, you're dropping 50. Okay. And that's when you like I said, from Todd's perspective as a coach, and I just know coaches too, when those happen, you look at your player and you're just kind of like, okay, are we here? Do we need to sit down? Do we need to have an understanding? Like, what are you seeing? And I don't think that Josh Allen is really seeing the field like that. And that's a shame. That's a shame. I don't think he's really seeing the field like that. So yeah, this is very, very hot tea, because I think that they fired the wrong person.
Do you know the NFL changed overtime rule for the Bills and Josh Allen?
Yes, they did, because I hollered about it.
And he's 0 for 5 in overtime since they changed the rules for them.
How did I know Jody was gonna have all the facts? I'm gonna say this is absolutely hot. It's actually scalding hot tea. I wrote about this earlier this week, and shameless plug for myself, but I wrote about this earlier this week, and I basically said, like, hey, the Bills knew what it was when they signed up, right? They knew that Josh Allen was a backyard style football kind of guy. Before he even got to the league, there were questions about whether or not he could actually play in the league, right? Those first 2 years were brutal. They were absolutely brutal. Then in the third year, hey, 2020 rolls around, you start winning some games, and guess what? Winning is a surefire cure for the way that losing makes you feel, right? Like, if you start winning some games, you're going to forget about what losing feels like for just a little bit, right? So when you start, stop losing games, you start going deeper in the playoffs, the Bills are like, hey, we kind of like it here. So much so that they threw a $250 million contract at Josh Allen, that was a 6-year extension with $150 million guaranteed. So the thing is, even if they hated it with Josh Allen right now, they are in the trenches with him because they went all in on him, really without having to show much for it. And that's kind of the league that we're in now. Like, you need a franchise quarterback. You're going to go ahead and shore him up regardless of, if he's brought you Super Bowls or not. But here's the other thing. I don't think this is a Ken Dorsey problem, right? In my opinion, this is a roster problem as well, because even as their offense goes, right? Obviously, Stephon Diggs, right? You all obviously have Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis is up and down, right? You had James Cook at running back, running game not stable. Like there's these little like ups and downs, and even their tight end position has been doop, 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 like this with injuries and that sort of thing. So I don't know how you expect an offense like that to maintain this high level octane when you're not getting consistent play out of your quarterback, and you're running into some injury issues as well. So here's the other thing. Up until probably recently, honestly, and I think we had said it at the beginning of the season, I had Josh Allen in my like, hey, this is my top 5, top 10, sort of quarterbacks, right? But watching him on that field against the Broncos, I'm like, what in the entire world did I just see? And the problem is, I went back and looked, and this is not a new thing for Josh Allen, right? The other issue is, let me just throw some things out here as someone who covers the Colts and obviously a Colts fan. But the Colts and the Bills have the same record right now. Both have their quarterback. They're missing pieces in terms of health, right? On both sides.
Mainly missing your quarterback.
Missing a quarterback, yes. But you got a brand new staff, basically 9 new coaches, a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, like, a soft rebuild on this roster, and you have the same record as the Colts, who aren't even anywhere close to potentially being a serious contender right now. They're in a rebuild. Like, what sort of world are we in when the Bills are not able to get above 500? Not only are you not able to get above 500, you aren't beating any teams above 500. This is the same conversation or, argument I had last season when everybody was super high on the Titans. Oh, the Titans are this, the Titans are that. And then the Eagles came and unraveled them. And then their GM got fired 2 days later because they were like, oh my God, absolutely not. What have we been doing? But you knew this was happening all along and nobody bothered to pay attention to it. So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, this is not just a Josh Allen problem. Like it is, but this is an organizational issue. The train is falling off the tracks here. We were in shambles. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know what? It's an offense problem. Ken Dorsey's got to be
able to make better decisions though. Like you have to be better. And like he's a better quarterback when he does scramble, when he does get out the pocket, when he does use his legs. He's not sitting there taking the sack, taking the big loss. And then he's getting put into long yardage situations, and that's usually when you see the pick. That's usually when you see the turnover. So, I mean, he just needs to be better at decision making too. And I don't know if that's a conversation with his QB coach or the OC or both. So
I mean, I think it's a situation where if you want Josh Allen to be good, you got to live with the like the wow plays, but also the what in the world did I just see, right? Like because that's who he is now. I think people are now coming around to that realization, like this is who he is.
But that's the thing. Don't get me wrong. Good coaches know how to cover up weaknesses, and I think that's what's been going on. And then unfortunately, right now, those weaknesses are a little bit too strong to continue to keep covering. And when you have that issue, you got to figure out how to make that change. And right now, them firing Dorsey, that wasn't the change that needed to be made. That was something that you needed to figure out with the weaknesses, because again, now that you fired Dorsey, now you have to put somebody in interim, and let's see what it's going to look like. If you're getting the same picture, even after you change lenses, you finally are going to see, okay, it something must be wrong with this camera. It wasn't the lens, it's the camera.
You can always fire a coach. You can't always fire an offense. Right. And I'm sure that somebody took a look at it and said, hey, we need to make a statement. We need to get these guys going. So we're going to fire the offensive coordinator. Hopefully we light a fire under the butt of the offense. And it's really too bad that somebody had to fall on the sword for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Would agree. Well said. Well said. All right. So speaking of quarterbacks, I actually think I'm going to merge these two because I think they're really good. So this is Contenders and Pretenders, and then of course who you think might be in and out. Jody, I'm going to start with you because I know you have a list of Contenders and Pretenders. Do not say the Chiefs because we already know they're on there. Who else is on your list of potential contenders at this point?
So I'm all in to say that the Texans are making playoffs this year. I think that they are going to get a wild card, and I don't know if you guys looked at the injury report for last week's game for them against the Bengals. They had like 30 people on the injury report last week going into that game. Only 53 men on a roster. Their O-line is banged up, and they're missing like 3 to 5 of their starters, and they are rolling right now. Like, what is it going to be like once that team, if they ever get to 85% healthy? Like, CJ Stroud is doing a great job with that team.
Stroud.
Stroud.
I say that every time. Sorry.
It's a good Southern accent there.
Yeah.
But they're doing a great job with that team. Yeah, I mean, I know Jaja is a Texas fan, and he's saying that they're going to win that division.
I mean, the way the Jaguars are playing right now, I'm kind of mad, and I really want to fight them because they're not giving Calvin Ridley the ball, and I wanted my second round pick.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley's having a tough time right now.
Listen, my fantasy team knows he's having a tough time. Thank you so much.
Just had to drop Trevor Lawrence, and I had him MVP candidate this year, so that would be
me too, and I'm so mad about that.
That would be my pretender, and I'm a little upset about that because I had super high hopes for Trevor Lawrence this season, especially after the way that he played through the playoffs last year with that team and having that comeback against the Chargers. Like, that was great. He played really good ball. So I don't really know what's going on with Jacksonville this year because, if anything, they added a lot of pieces, and it's just they're seeming just not to click. So I would say my contender would be the Texans, and my pretender, which I hate to say, would be the Jacksonville Jags. But I do think that they can figure out a way to turn it around at the back half of the year and still win that division, even though they are struggling really tough. If they don't win their division, the Texans.
Okay.
I agree.
Coach Todd, what you got? Contender?
Well, I didn't prepare for this one, but just off the top of my head, I'm going to go the Detroit Lions as a contender.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers as my pretender. I know they're sitting at 6-3 right now. They've been able to win some games, not against great teams, but I don't know that they get the playoffs. If they do, I don't think they go past the first round.
How in the heck do they keep winning these games?
TJ Watt,
Mike Tomlin, he's gonna find a way to make sure that team stays above 500. That's all I gotta say.
If Mike Tomlin does nothing else, the team will be 500.
Find a way to win.
Is there a better coach? That is a guy I love to watch work. That is a guy that I study. Any coach, any sport needs to watch Mike Tomlin and how he works with a team, how he creates professional from friendship. There is not a better man doing what they do than him right now.
100% agreed. He's so good. He's so darn good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still trying to figure it out. For me, my contenders, and this is really a tough one for me, but I'm gonna say my contenders, and the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to see if I can jinx them. But my contenders are the Dallas Cowboys. Trying to jinx them. No, because see, my pretenders is the whole NFC South. That's the pretenders.
The whole division.
The whole entire NFC South are pretenders.
Y'all had me saying y'all were gonna win 10 games this year.
Baby, we were saying we were gonna win 10 games. I don't even think the whole NFC South finna win 10 games at this point.
I was like, it's gonna be a dog fight between the Saints.
It ain't. It's a dog fight at the water bowl. That's what it is. We're trying to get a drink of water at this point. Like, all NFC South are pretenders right now. Like, I don't know from the Carolina Panthers, but even I'm glad that they're losing. But from the Carolina Panthers, sit over here and just only win in one game. They're about to go get demolished by the Cowboys. I don't know what's going on. They don't even have a first round pick next week. The matter of fact, and I'm even gonna put an honorable mention. The contenders are gonna be the Chicago Browns Bears next year. The reason why is because they got 2 first round draft picks that could be number 1 and number 2, depending on where the Carolina Panthers fall. So I'm gonna say that.
They don't have a number 1 for sure with the Panthers.
There's so much happening in this answer.
So much happening. Then you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We don't know if they're going to be good or if they're not. They're light on, light off, clap on, clap off. That's basically it. The Saints,
I was struggling real bad.
Who their quarterback is. They don't even know who the quarterback is. We might play Taysom Hill when we come from this bye week right now. We don't know what. Then my team.
My gosh.
I don't know if Art got something on Uncle Blank. I don't know. I don't know who my quarterback is. I don't know if we're gonna go Tyler Heineke or if we going Ritter. I don't know what Deshaun is doing. I don't know who getting the ball. My defense just looking like a paper shred. The whole NFC South is
Deshaun. My fantasy needs you too. My fantasy football team.
I don't even know if they can go get the ball to him at this point. Like my team is just this shambles.
Y'all. All right, I'm gonna hop in before E continues his process.
Or she starts crying.
Yeah, I'm gonna say she might. I'm gonna say my pretenders are the Bengals. They do not look like themselves right now. Even though they've been trying to get their lives together, they don't look like themselves. And my contenders are actually the Lions. I do think that the Lions can make some noise. I absolutely love Dan Campbell. I think several players on that team would run through a wall for him. That's how much they believe in him. And I think what he's been able to do in Detroit in the last several seasons is really, honestly, it's very admirable and really quite astonishing to kind of see in real time. The Lions, I think, knew what sort of things that they had on their roster at the end of last season where I don't know if you guys remember, they already realized they were out of the playoffs, but they went and played the Packers and beat the Packers and knocked them out of the playoffs. It's that sort of pride. It's that sort of like, hey, just because we're done here doesn't mean that we weren't going to compete. And I think that's why you're seeing them play at such a high level this season. I think that's really, honestly, I think that's going to take them pretty far. I don't know how far it goes, but I do think that they at least win, 1 or 2 playoff games.
They will go as far as their defense takes them. I mean, when you're talking about teams that are contenders or pretenders, it's making sure that you have an offense that can go out and score enough points. And they've got the balance of the offense in the running and the passing game. They've got several weapons, but then they have a defense that's consistency. They're going to bend. They're going to give up a few points, but they're not going to get a day where they're going to throw up, give up 40 points or something like that. That's what a contender is.
Yeah, I think that Baltimore's Ravens loss woke them up. I really do. I think that loss to the Ravens really woke them up and kind of showed them what they need to do. But to Jaja, baby, the Eagles are beatable. And right now, even though the Niners went over there and sent the Jaguars home, they're still beatable. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing right now. I thought that they were going to be one of those ones that can be like, okay, you go to them, you're going to run into a brick wall. Right now, that brick wall is looking like sandpaper. So NFC is grass.
Got it. Okay. I think I'll buy that. I'm in on that one for a dime.
Yeah, no, right now, I mean, the thing is, you can still put the 49ers up there. You still can put the Eagles up there. You can put the Cowboys up there. You can put the Lions up there. But with all of these teams that are there, there's not like one where you can kind of zone in a little bit and say for sure that's going to be a test. Right now, I don't see a test in the NFC.
You have to look at who's most likely or who has the biggest ability to throw up a stinker. I don't think that the 49ers are one of those teams that is most likely to throw up a stinker. Some of these other ones we're talking about, boy, just 1 or 2 things go wrong and they throw up a stinker.
Exactly. Yep. It's pretty funny that the times have shifted to where the AFC is now the most competitive conference over the NFC, and with the NFC being tough, because a lot of people really, you can kind of see who's going to be in the playoffs for the NFC. AFC is going to be a fight to the end for them of who is really going to be in those playoff matchups.
Right.
All right. So we've got one last topic. It is top week 11 games to watch. Coach Todd, I don't know if you did any prep, but if you have a game that you're looking forward to, go for it.
I did not do any prep. I was just going to run real quick and pull up the schedule. I didn't.
All right. So while you're pulling up the schedule, we'll say ours. What are your top 3 games to watch in week 11?
I'm gonna be funny and say that the games are gonna be watching me. I'm on bye. It was the bye weeks be so fun. Y'all just don't understand when you don't have to worry about your freaking team, and you don't have to.
I just came off.
The one that I am going to be really interested in seeing, people might think it's no, hold on. It's going to be actually the Steelers and the Browns. I really want to see that one because I really want to see what this Browns team is looking like. Because again, they still have a high-powered defense, even though that they haven't. We've seen DTR in a couple of games before. So I just want to see how this goes because I want to see what Mike Tomlin can put together. They'll probably come out either with this win. So that's going to be one of them. And then another one that I really can't wait to see because it's going to be a Super Bowl rematch and they're actually going to Arrowhead is the Eagles versus the Chiefs on Monday night. I'm going to be really zoned and tuned in.
I'll be there. Look for me.
I was just about to say, will you be there? And I already knew that answer, but yes.
Arrowhead, look for me.
So I've got I'm kind of bouncing between two here. I think Lions Bears is going to tell us a lot about the Lions.
Yeah.
And I also think Dallas Washington is going to tell us if Dallas is a contender or pretender. Because if Dallas can't handle Washington in a convincing factor, Dallas may not be the team this year.
And they always give them grief.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
It doesn't matter on there.
I'm going to let – oh, go ahead, Jody.
First, I'm very excited for Chiefs Eagles because there was just so much controversy after the Super Bowl last year about not playing on the same grass, which is crazy because we did. But no, I'm really excited to see that game, especially because we're coming off of a bye week. And I think y'all know my frustrations with this offense, not even the offense, the wide receivers right now. So I want to see how they're able to adjust and adapt to the back half of our schedule where it gets really tough. And the Eagles are really freaking good. So they're going to give us a test. And we're both coming off the bye week. The Eagles were on a bye week this week too. So both teams are very well rested and they get the extra day because of Sunday. So Monday night's going to be really good in Arrowhead. It is going to be cold and rain. Temperatures 38 at kickoff or something. So it's going to be a really good game.
I spent my time in the cold and rain watching Georgia, and that was not fun. I couldn't feel my feet. So have fun.
I think both quarterbacks will have an interception too.
Jody, I agree with you. I'm also going to pick the Kansas City Swifties on that one.
Kansas City Swifties is hilarious.
Shift him a sweater. I'm gonna send it to you.
That's funny. That's good. That's good.
And the other team I'm most excited to see is Ravens Bengals. That is going to be such a great matchup. The AFC North is just ridiculous right now, and they are fighting for who's going to take that number 1 seed. And right now in the AFC, every game matters if you're in the top 7 or 8 teams trying to get that either playoff spot or wild card spot. So this game might determine who wins that division. So
how crazy is it to think the Raiders, even with all that turmoil they've been through, they're in contention to win a division.
Yeah, I actually was just arguing with some Chiefs fans about that the other day because all of a sudden the Broncos are winning again. They're probably going to win their next game, which is strange. And then the Raiders are winning. So, yeah.
I mean, listen, you guys are saying all my games. So I got Bengals Ravens because they're both coming off a loss. So somebody's got to win. Eagles Chiefs because there's been so much chatter since that Super Bowl about this happening, that happening, this foul happening, that not happening. Like, yeah, so I want all that. Like, give me all the chit chat. And then Vikings Broncos. Josh Dobbs been playing very well. The Broncos have suddenly played very well. Their defense finally looks like the defense that we know. Sean Payton has finally got his life together. So we think. But that is the games that I'm like, those are the games I'm looking forward to. And Steelers Browns was also on my list as an honorable mention, just because there's been some concerns about Kenny Pickett. And his health, and then I want to see what the Browns look like without Deshaun at the helms, and can they still continue winning games? So that's what I got. But honestly, that Eagles Chiefs, that's my game. Like, I got that circled because I was like, yes, take me to Monday expeditiously, please. This is the game.
It's really good, and I'm so glad that it's not a division. Like, I'm so glad it's not a conference game, so it's an NFC game. I know we're going to win, but if we did lose, it's like, okay, well, it doesn't affect the AFC, so whatever. Totally fine.
Oh, Lord.
All right, so that is all I had tonight. That's the only thing that I had, left on the agenda. Before we head out, Coach Todd, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Well, I'm supposed to do my job. AtlantaVibe.com. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter, Atlanta Vibe, at Atlanta Vibe. And we're really looking forward to not only all the volleyball fans coming out, but trying to make some new volleyball fans this year. We're excited to be in the greatest professional sports city in the country as far as I'm concerned. And I love Atlanta. And to have just to be part of the family. Everybody has been so amazingly welcoming to us through every single sport that we have here on the docket in Atlanta. And we're very grateful for that. And we can't wait to represent and try to be the inaugural champion.
Oh, yeah.
I like
yes,
it. I like
yes,
it. I like
love
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I can't wait till they come to Kansas City. So can't wait till yeah.
But so since he did his shameless plug, let me do our shameless plug. Make sure you guys follow it at It's the Sports Tea on Twitter and on IG. And make sure you follow us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. So you have to start bringing a friend, okay? Coach Todd, thank you so much for coming. Trust me, we are going to have you back on here again. This was so fun. Literally, I love it to hear from other perspectives. And trust me, you are going to see me at a game. Me and Meg both. Well, Meg's already going to be there. I'm just going to follow her since we got to come across the world. So come to Gwinnett.
Jody, I'll see you at Omaha. How's that sound?
That sounds good. That's only 3 hours. So.
Noted.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you, Coach Todd. Again, we appreciate you for hopping on. And for anybody who's been in the comments, anybody who's listening, we will see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.
So talk to me nice.
Keep it cute because I'll keep it fabulous.
And
that's the tea.